a wobble. Going back and forward now, going big and small. Oh yeah, are you all right? I'm going to just move that. I have to take my glasses off. It's quite hard, really. I struggle if I get everything too far away. You're always a blur, but if I get everything too far away, you're an incredible blur. And if I get too close, you're a blur. So I have to try and get you just right. And I'm not convinced you are, and I'm not convinced that light's right, wherever it is. So I'm just going to, pardon the expression, shift it. Is that better? That's that a bit less glary, maybe. There's the glare still coming from over there, isn't it? Hang on, bear with. How's that? I think it's a bit better. How are you doing? Are you all right? I'm all right. So I've got a plan, as usual. And first thing I want to say is that next week I'm on holiday next week. So there isn't a show next Friday. And the following Friday, I'm coming back from my holidays. I'm going on Friday, I'm coming back on Friday. So the next 2 weeks, I'm not here. I'm definitely not here the next Friday. I might manage to squeeze you in, but let's for now say I probably won't be here. I think that's the fairest and easiest thing to say. Yeah, my plan is to try and develop over time, as I get better at this, and as more and more of you say hello, a schedule of regular features. And from last week, I've sort of kept that a bit. We'll go from there, see what happens. Yeah. Just my fancy trousers. Go ahead, babies. I've come dressed as a clown. I have. And that's my band. Yeah. On my manly bosoms, which would. Yeah. And there we go. Now, I want to talk to you today, firstly, about wargaming in the past, because I've been doing a lot of thinking about that. And I found quite a few sites recently, which are older gamers. I found one, and Old Wargamer, it's called. Lovely site. People like my age, which is old, he started wargaming, it says, before me. He started in 70, 71. I started in 72. And so it's interesting to hear his perspective on wargaming. It's very sort of, we have a lot of similarities. I think a lot of wargamers of our generation started off with Airfix soldiers, the plastic ones. We use 20mm 1/72 scale, I think. Not an expert on that. Whereas when I talk to younger gamers at shows at the club or on here, a lot of them have come to the hobby through sort of in their mid-years. They seem to come to the game through Warhammer, Citadel, Games Workshop, 40k, Rogue Trader, Blood Bowl, Necromunda, those type of areas. And now at my club, we're getting gamers that are coming in who are drawn into the game by games like Frostgrave and Stargrave. And undoubtedly, they'll be drawn in later by things like Core Space. So we get a whole wide range of things, don't we? And I know some people say that board games, games in boxes, spoil hobby. No, well, and I don't think they do. If you watch my YouTube things, I'll tell you straight. I don't think they do. But we need games that last a couple of hours because that's how long a club session is. And if you want to do a historical big grand battle, you will. Just because you haven't got a box that says you will if you want to. So I don't think it makes any difference how people come to the hobby. Do you? Tell me what you think. Yeah, so that'd be interesting to know. The first proper section of tonight is going to be about games I've been doing in the week that I've not since last week. I couldn't do it last week because last week was the first one, so it was pointless. So this week, this is the first in this section. I'm going to do about 10 minutes a section, so I'll probably do 6 sections and an introduction and a conclusion. Give me 60 minutes. I'm going to talk today about the games, a lot of which have been on the YouTube. So since last week, I've managed to acquire large numbers of 1970s miniature figurines, fantasy figures. They were made by Miniature Figurines of Southampton. If you type minifigs now on a search, you get Lego. You don't get what we want, miniature figurines. They're different. If you're interested, you can have a peep. You can get them. You can buy them. Read the Caliver Books. If you go to Caliver Books and look at miniature figurines, they're classic ranges, and you want classic sci-fi and fantasy, they are there. And if you played with them back in the 70s, then you can find them again. That's exciting. I remember the absolute thrill of getting those figures. They weren't in the shops. If you wanted them, you had to send to Miniature Figurines for the catalogue. And I remember one particular one, the glossy white A4, and the smell. And we used to pool our money together. It was upper 5th. It wasn't the 6th form. It was before that, because I remember opening it in a classroom, and the 6th form, we had a 6th form common room. I weren't in there. So we used to put money together and we'd send off for it with a little, get your dad to write you a check, and you'd send it off, or a postal order. So you'd send off, and then you'd wait for it to come. Whoever ordered it, whoever's dad had written the check, would bring it into school, and you'd open it, and all sit around opening it, have a look, and poring over the figures. Absolutely amazed by what you saw. And then sometimes you might buy some, and they would come in the post. Or sometimes, as happened, certainly, I think just once maybe, we had a Wargames fair in Doncaster at the Wargames Club I went to, which was a Elmfield House Youth Club, Elmfield Park. And I was working. I had a Saturday job in the tailors, March the tailors. So I couldn't go. But my mate came over, and I gave him all my money. I think I'd saved up about £30 and orders. Get me elves. And he got me a massive box of elves. And I spent ages painting it. And that was my first proper miniature figurines army. Then I went on and I got sci-fi. I got the Cyan pinheads, and my brother got Aquila Death Angels and funny little dream men and blind horses. They were quite sort of like clowns with snippers. They were very odd. Big nose, big things on the noses. And spacemen that looked a bit like Ned Kelly. They had like big buckets on their heads. So they were fun. I like them. So I did miniature figurines for quite a while. So that's one of the things I've been doing this week. But I've been combining it with playing Dragon Rampant. And I'm just sort of finishing off a video I've made on Lion Rampant. And I've had a nightmare making it. It's been a shambles, to be honest. The problem I've had is I've played this game a lot. I should know it. But when you play with a mate or a group, everyone has their own book, don't they? And so you make a mistake and you say, oh, this is what you do for, oh, I've suffered a casualty. What does that mean? And your mate goes, no, they've got it wrong. And he tells you the right way of doing it, and you do it the right way. But because I'm on my own, I had to keep going through the book, and there were massive gaps. And to be fair, the wheel came off. So that was no fun for anybody. So what I did was I did a battle. I showed the figures. I showed the good army. I showed the bad army. I haven't shown all of them. I've shown the orcs, and I've shown a sort of what I call the Gaian Alliance, which is part of my own world of Dural. I have my own fantasy world. Then I did a battle that I sort of made up roughly using their rules. And the entire battle lasted an hour. And then I said, right, okay, I'm going to do it proper now. I'm not going to cheat. I'm going to do a proper, I've got to have battle sheets. I'm going to have rosters. I'm going to pick the armies. I'm going to follow the rules religiously. Because I've cheated so much, I couldn't remember what the proper rules were. So that was annoying. But anyway, I've done it now. So I've done quite a few bits of miniature figurines. I've got rid of all my Citadel figures. All of my Warhammer and Citadel have gone. They've all gone. I've kept a few random fantasy figures. There are a couple of Citadel Warhammer things. I've got Thrud the Barbarian from White Dwarf years ago. He's not gone anywhere. And I've got some Grenadier figures. I've got some Vanguard figures. I use them mainly role-playing. So they're different. It's like I'd sort of have a random collection of things to play sci-fi role plays, Traveller, so on. 5 parsecs, Stargrave. So I use my squats from 40k for those types of games, but I use miniature figurines for the other science fiction games. What's what to do. So that's what I've been doing, really, mainly using miniature figures to play more modern games. And you will see more of that because now that is my fantasy army. That's what I've got. So I've been doing a lot of that. I've been doing a lot of work on campaign maps and creating your own world because I firmly believe that's what we should be doing. We should all be making our own worlds, and we should be making our own maps because that creates our own stories. The Dragon Rampant game I just played, it grew into a scenario from my having a map because I knew where armies went. I knew what objectives were. The winner gets to choose the next thing to do. They can advance, or they can build something, or they can modify something. And that then leads them into another situation, and more scenarios develop, But they're for a reason. You don't have to say, oh, I've run out of scenarios now. I'll have to go and buy another £32 book because they've just released the new module. I think I said on one of the videos, use your imagination, use your brain. Nobody can tell you you're wrong. Choose a favourite film. I've been watching that Star Trek, Strange New Worlds. I really like it. And my favourite was, there was one on last night where they got trapped on this dodgy planet trying to find out what happened to a lost starship. And they had to get it back into space and everybody was dead. And there were Gorn on it. Not the Gorn from the 60s, who were very strange. but the new Gorn, who were dead nasty. And that was my sort of thing. But that would have made a great scenario because they had a small away team trapped on a ship with baddies about. It would have fitted for Stargrave. It would have fitted for 5 Parsecs. It would have fitted as Traveller. It was really interesting. So you might have a favourite film. So a favourite franchise, favourite book. And that might inspire you. You might have a world like Blade Runner. You might have a Viking world. You might have sort of Dark Age Britain. Your Dark Age Britain might be Arthurian like mine. It might be The Last Kingdom, Bernard Cornwell, Winter King. I don't know. It's up to you. My Arthur in my game isn't anything like Bernard Cornwell's Arthur. So that leads me into the second segment, which that's a nice, what we call in the business a segue, because I want to talk now about things in the media. So books, videos, Netflix, telly, films that are related to history. If I was looking for wargaming, I'd be struggling. I saw it. I don't know what it was. I must find out what it was. You might know. You tell me if you know. But there was a thing on YouTube, Edward Woodward talking wargaming. And I want to look at it because I don't know, is it Edward Woodward talking about our wargaming or some other random Cold War nastiness I don't want to know about. Anyway, I don't know. So this segment will generally be about that. So, for example, tonight I had intended to look at a study that's been done which purports to tell me the top 10 most historically accurate films made about the American War of Independence. I'm not really interested in the American War of Independence. It's not my period. But I thought that was interesting because I've seen a few American War of Independence films, some better, some worse, but I don't really know what I'm judging it on. So that might be interesting. So I thought about doing that. I didn't. I'm not doing that. A teaser. Might do that later on. I put it on a high shelf up there. And then I thought about a couple of books that I've read recently, which could be interesting for gaming, or might just be interesting. But then tonight, just before I came upstairs to do this, there was a trailer on the BBC. So it's the 15th of August today. You might have noticed. So if it's coming up, it says it's definitely on the BBC, and cleverly, I can't remember what it's called, but I think it's called something like Kings and Conquerors, or Conquerors and Kings. But I think it's got the word kings in it, and I think it's got the word conquerors in it. And I don't know what it's about, but it was an epic looking battle scene. And I think it's William the Conqueror and Harold. Plus side for the BBC, no adverts. They do make good dramas. And it looked magnificent. I didn't get to see it closely, but I looked at these huge numbers of men. They might have had, the bows might have been a bit long bowy. So one to watch out for. Sometimes, a good film that inspires war games is a good film, isn't it? Doesn't need to be the most accurate historical thing in the world, but it looked good. It looked good to me. So I'm looking forward to seeing what it is. We'll see what that pinches, so what I can pinch off that. This week I've also watched a film that somehow slipped me by, and it was Tommy Lee Jones, and it coincidentally it was an American War of Independence film, and it was called One April Morning. And I thought it was quite good. The acting's a bit, not Tommy Lee Jones. Tommy Lee Jones is brilliant. And maybe it's more the directorship, but it's eight. I'm guessing it's 80s by the look of the thing. Often with historical films, that doesn't matter, does it? Because it's set in the 1770s, so it don't really matter. It looks like the 1980s. But it had a lot of little teeny-weeny details. I was talking to my mate at the War Games Club, and he was saying he has a similar opinion. My missus and my family don't get this, but you will. Little things like the uniforms. When the British troops, they all come up, it's Battle of Concord. That, shot fired around the world business. When the British land, all the different troops coming up have got different uniforms. There's light infantry, there's grenadiers. They look amazing. They look absolutely spot on. And when the messenger comes riding through Concord, something that really annoys me is when they get deer. He shouts, "The regulars are coming." He doesn't shout, "The redcoats coming," and he doesn't shout, "The British are coming," because he wouldn't, would he? There wasn't like that British was. It's not what you do. It's "the regulars are coming" is what he shouts over and over and over. Now I like that. That whatever, if that film was there on a scale of accuracy, him shouting "the regulars are coming" made it go boop. So yeah, I like that. So that's something else I watched, and that was good. So I suppose really they're the two main things. I don't know what you're like. You have to let me know. But I keep dipping back into things like Band of Brothers, Zulu. I saw two historians talking about Zulu on YouTube, and they gave it 10 out of 10. Not for pure accuracy, because I've watched other things, I've read things about Rorke's Drift, and they get a lot wrong. But for the mood and for the whole inspiration and for what it led to, because like they were saying, lots and lots and lots of people get into history, wargaming, colonial history because of watching Zulu. I watched Waterloo, Christopher Plummer, Rod Steiger, the year it came out, 70. I don't know if that's right. But then, whenever it came out, it was on at the pictures. And me and my mate went to see it. And you had to go and see it every day, because once it went off the pictures, it was gone. There was no video shops. There's no Netflix, no YouTube. It was gone. And if you were lucky, 7 years later, it might pop up on the telly. But you couldn't record it. It was gone again. And so we went lots of times. Some films like Cromwell, we only went to see once because we didn't like that. Didn't like Cromwell much at all. I didn't like exploding cannonballs. Even in my youth, I had more sense than that. But they're the sorts that you don't know. Like Waterloo made us buy Airfix Napoleonic soldiers, which made us fight with Airfix Napoleonic soldiers, which made us become Napoleonic embryonic wargamers, which led us to buying Hinchcliffe and so on. Or my book, Lord of the Rings. I read Lord of the Rings, changed my life. I've said it before, and I'll say it again. Reading Lord of the Rings changed my life. I would not be where I am now, doing what I do, knowing what I know, feeling how I feel without Lord of the Rings. It is the single most important fiction book that I ever came into contact with. My life is better for Lord of the Rings existing. I'm going to generally talk for these 10-minute sections. At some point, I'm sure, one day, someone will appear. I've got a little sign up there. It says top chat, top fans, and that's what's in them. But since last week, although nobody tuned in live, 11 people have watched since. So thank you for that, those people. And I might as well take the opportunity to say thanks to my subscribers, and thanks to everybody else. My analytics, and I'll tell you why I'm telling you this. My analytics tell me that I'm going up, watches going up every month, interactions are going up, subscribers are going up. All right, it's not dramatic. I'm not going to be going like that. Oh, look at my plaque on the wall. I know that's not going to happen. So yeah, I'm going to die before that happens. I was talking to a guy the other day who said it took him 10 years to get to that point. I ain't got 10 years, so that's not going to happen. Don't feel sorry for me. That's just the truth. So where was I before I went off on that strange reverie? Yeah, I've had 1.7 thousand views of my stuff, and I've had to date 56 subscribers. Now, I don't have 56. There aren't 56 people out there who were watching 1,700 times, are they? And how hard is it to go subscribe? Don't cost you. You don't have to sign anything. You don't have to watch me ever again, do you? I subscribe to loads of stuff. I like support people. But now this is right. Okay, so now this starts to sound like I'm saying, "Oh, subscribe." Why do I want you to subscribe? I debate this with myself, which I'm doing because there's nobody there. So let's debate it. It makes me feel I'm doing something right. That's number one. If people are subscribing, I must be doing something right. I must be making content that people want to see. Okay, that's one. Against that, on this other page here, is the fact that I read somewhere or watched it on YouTube, 2 million YouTubes published every day videos, and one little Herbert in England. So the chances of me being noticed are probably infinitesimal. I'm tiny in this great scheme of things. So I'm reliant on people bumping into me. But okay, I get that's 1-1. But 1,700 people have bumped into me. So why is nothing happening? But then somebody else said it's good to be small and to be unnoticed because you get to perfect what you're doing. Yeah, that's good. Okay. And then somebody else said, yeah, but you like imagine YouTube's like a seed. I planted a seed and you can't see anything, soil. And you water it and nothing happens. But underground, there's all roots. And these roots are all growing. And then one day, it goes, beep. And then over time, it goes like that. And it grows into a big beanstalk. So, I might be growing a big beanstalk, mightn't I? You never know. Quite fancy a big beanstalk. Yeah. It really is a hard one because I love me, I'm thick. But I don't know. We all need a bit of summer, don't we? I'm not trying to get monetized. I know that. That's not. I'm trying to do that. I don't want to push products. I don't want to. I'd look stupid anyway trying to sell shampoo for lovely hair. have, you seen that? So that's not going to happen. So, but it'd be nice. Right now, okay, I'm on here now. Judging by last week, nobody watched it. Only 11 people did. So, nobody's watching this. But if 11 of you do, then you're then going to hear me in retrospect. And you can still comment, can't you? And you can go onto the channel because I've sort of like customized, contentified the channel so we can have a two-way conversation, which is nice. And that's happening. I've had two really interesting, nice, lovely comments today and conversations with people. So that's brilliant. That is amazing. Bob on with that. And gradually, if somebody listens, then what can happen is the chat will appear up there and we'll be able to respond to each other, and then it'll start to roll. Then it'll get exciting because we'll be able to have a proper interaction and it'll mean something. At the moment, it's just me yapping on, reading a bit of paper I've got up there with some ideas that I thought might keep me going. So another thing I wanted your opinion on, and so it don't matter when you tune in, you might tune in 4 years' time. There's a guy I watch in America who I only found about 3 months ago. He's been on YouTube for 10 years. And I've gone through all his stuff for years, everything he's done. I really like it. But I've only just found him. Wargamer, I really like. So, and I watched that, but I haven't known him for yonks. Seventh Son, it's called. I really like what he does. Watch his version of these Test of Honor games and compare it to my rubbish version of my Test of Honor games. It's a disgrace what I do. I think one of the things that a lot of people have that I don't is a partner in the room. So if you've got another gamer that you're gaming with, you've got interaction. Whereas it's me and you, that interaction, and it's stilted, because it's not two way. It's not generating anything from anywhere. So that'd help, wouldn't it? But I don't know if it's going to happen. Nobody's come forward and said, "Oh, please, Galen, let me join your YouTube channel." So that'd be an idea. And I was saying something else, but I remember saying as well on a YouTube thing a long time ago, my head's a bit of a whirl. Things go like that all around me. And every now and again, I'll reach out and I grab one by its tail. And I pull it down. That's Rolo barking. I don't always bark at. And I pull it down and it comes out my mouth and I let it go. It's gone. And then I can't remember what the other things were. Well, I grab another one and pull that in and let that go. Well, that's what's happening at the moment. So, I was talking about subscribers and watchers and stuff like that. Yeah, so I suppose the main point is once we get this two-way stuff and people are contributing, then that's great. They can contribute. I'm guessing, because it's never happened, but I don't know. But I'm guessing that we can contribute with each other. So if you contribute and he contributes, can they contribute? You put your left leg in. Just yeah. Yeah, so it made me think that. And that's not good telling. Me sat here thinking, Yeah. I think hopefully. So hopefully what I hope happens is people get used to this. And like imagine like 11 people last week. So those 11 people over the coming week tune in again and go, that's interesting. He's here again. He's here every week. And then they'll go, oh no, he's not. He's not here for a fortnight because he's gone on his holidays. Pudding. But hopefully my Christmas will be in a routine. And we'll see. I'm in the middle of doing my 200th video, which I never thought was going to happen. I remember when I did the first one, deleting it and not being sure whether to even publish one. And then I numbered them all. The first 10, I actually gave them a number. If you go back and watch them, when they were all long ways up, because I didn't know about where to put the camera. And they didn't have thumbnails, and I didn't edit them. And I was proud of that. So 200's quite proud of that. I'm enjoying doing it. That's why I do it. I do it because I enjoy doing it. I don't do it for subscribers. I don't do it for that. But having done it, nice to get a tick. You know, I hand my homework in at school. It's nice to have somebody mark it for me. So the other, yes, now, birds grab. I know what I was going to say. Am I doing the right amount of time for you? Because last week I did half an hour. And that was to get all the technical stuff right. But this week I decided to do an hour. So, is an hour too long? Because I know it's a long time, but my theory is, and this is what you can comment on and let me know. If I do half an hour and you sort of stumble into this at 10 minutes, 15 minutes in, it's going to be gone. Or if I do 8 till past and you stumble around at 25 to, you've missed me. Or you come in at 20 past, 25 past, you haven't got time to have a conversation. But do an hour, 8 till 9, you can think, I can't be there at 8, but I could be there at 10 past, quarter past. And we can have a proper chat then. So that's why I've gone for an hour. I've not really gone for an hour for me. I've gone for an hour for you. But I don't know, is that too long? Perhaps I maybe go back to half an hour, and then if there's a demand, go back to an hour. Because now we've done nearly 40 minutes. So if somebody comes in now, I don't know why tonight you would want to sit through this for an hour, because nothing's happening. Do you see what I mean? So what I'm going to do, it's 38:46. I'm going to shut this off at 40 minutes rather than do an extra 20 minutes for no reason. And then if people want to comment and let me know what's happening, that'd be great. And if everything's fine, well, that's good. Okay. And if anyone's got any constructive criticism, that's equally fine. So I'm now trying to find the right place to push my button, and I'm going to say, ta-da, Chuck! We've got to find it.